So if you've been online at all in the last day or so, you might have seen this really weird and kind of alarming phrase popping up everywhere: Rockstar Games explosion. It just appeared seemingly out of nowhere with zero explanation, leaving tons of people totally confused and honestly pretty concerned.
And that immediately brings up the big question that was on everyone's mind. Did something awful actually happen? Did one of the biggest, most famous game studios in the world just have one of their offices blow up? The internet certainly seemed to think something was up.
And this wasn't just some small passing rumor. No way. We are talking about a massive vertical spike in search traffic all across the US and the UK. Interest in this phrase went from basically nothing to a huge trending topic almost instantly. It wasn't a slow build. It just exploded onto the scene.
So this thing starts trending, and it creates this information vacuum, right? People were scrambling, trying to find answers, asking all sorts of things like, was there an attack? Does this have something to do with GTA 6? Or even, is this whole thing just a bizarre hoax? And the problem was, there were no clear answers to be found. Okay, so to really understand why this whole thing caused such a panic, we first need to talk about the company right at the center of this storm. Because this isn't just any company. This is Rockstar Games.
I mean, come on. We're talking about the minds behind some of the most massive, most influential franchises in the history of entertainment. Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption. These are way more than just video games. They're cultural touchstones that have shaped an entire generation. The name Rockstar just carries a ton of weight.
And because of that reputation, Rockstar is more than a game developer. It's a massive global brand. So any piece of news, especially something that sounds this alarming, is practically guaranteed to spread like wildfire. It immediately gets the attention of millions of gamers, the media, everybody.
And you have to remember the timing of all this, which is just perfect storm territory. Grand Theft Auto 6 is officially on the way, the hype is through the roof, which means the company is under this incredibly intense microscope. The entire online world is hypersensitive to any little bit of news about them right now.
So, what did people think was going on when this trend popped up? With no official word, no real information, people's imaginations just filled in the blanks, and they went wild.
The theories were all over the map. You had the most straightforward one, a literal physical explosion at one of their main studios. Then you had people who know Rockstar's history with leaks, and they were thinking maybe it was a cyber attack. Of course, a ton of people immediately connected it to GTA 6. And, a few even wondered if it was some kind of weird, out-of-control marketing stunt.
But here's the kicker, the absolute most important part of this. Every single one of these theories, from the ones that sound kind of plausible to the really out there stuff, was completely 100% unverified. There was zero evidence, no credible sources, no official statements, nothing.
All right, so let's cut through all the noise, all the rumors and speculation. What's the real story here? Let's get to the truth of what was going on.
And the truth is, well, it's shockingly simple. Nothing happened. That's it. No explosion, no attack, no big incident. No Rockstar employees were hurt, no offices were touched. The entire trend was about an event that, when it comes to Rockstar Games, never actually happened. So let's just put it side by side, right? On one hand, you have the rumor, a huge, dramatic incident happening directly to Rockstar. And on the other hand, you have the reality, a totally unrelated industrial explosion that got mixed up with some algorithmic keyword confusion. So the real question is, how on earth did those two things get tangled up?
This is where it gets really fascinating. How does nothing become a massive viral story? This is the story of how some unfortunate keywords and a bunch of automated systems can create a huge trend completely out of thin air.
Okay, so here's how it happened. Step by step. First, a real industrial explosion did happen, but it had nothing to do with gaming. For whatever reason, early local news reports, or maybe some location data, happened to include the word Rockstar. Could have been a street name, a nearby business, who knows? Now, the search engine algorithms see this. They don't know why people are searching Rockstar and explosion together, they just see a pattern. So they amplify it, pushing it right onto the trending lists. And from there, our own human curiosity takes over, and the whole thing just feeds itself.
And of course, once the algorithm lit the match, social media was there to pour gasoline on the fire. You hop on a platform like X, and people are literally asking, did Rockstar get bombed? You go to Reddit, and there are entire threads speculating about how this is going to delay GTA 6. In this kind of environment, the speculation just moves way, way faster than any kind of correction ever could.
Okay, so you might be thinking, and it's a totally fair question, if this was all just one big misunderstanding, why didn't Rockstar just say something? Why would they stay quiet while these rumors are flying around?
Well, the answer is actually pretty simple, and from their perspective, very strategic. If they put out a statement saying we didn't explode, they're actually giving legitimacy to a completely bonkers rumor that has nothing to do with them. It's standard procedure, really. You don't comment on baseless speculation. In this case, saying nothing at all was the best way to let the story just fizzle out on its own.
So look, at the end of the day, this whole thing is more than just a weird, funny story about the internet being the internet. It's a perfect case study of a much, much bigger issue about how we get our information today.
And if there's one single thing you should take away from all this, it's this quote right here. Trending does not equal true. Just because a phrase is getting blasted to the top of a list by an algorithm and millions of people are searching for it does not mean there's any reality behind it. Virality and truth are two very different things.
There's actually a name for what happened here. It's called context collapse. And it's basically when bits of information, which might be true on their own, get stripped of their original context and then smashed together to create a brand new and totally false meaning. So yeah, there was an explosion. And yeah, Rockstar is a thing. But the connection between the two? It never existed. The context was just gone.
And that leaves us with a really big, really important question. This whole fiasco shows just how easily context can just vanish online, replaced by keywords and automated trends. So, in an age that's so driven by these systems, how do we find the truth? How do we piece the context back together?